I was not very outgoing. I was very shy. But this was the one thing that I was like, I'll just do it. That one little decision really did change my life.
Are you a certain person before you go through the curtain?
I think for a while I was trying to be, and now I'm realizing that you need to be yourself when you go through the curtain.
How much confidence does that championship bring to you?
A lot of confidence. No matter what, my name's in the history books as the first Intercontinental Women's Champion. That is huge.
What an entrance at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that was crazy. To be walking down, knowing my family is out there, my fiance is out there. It was a dream come true.
An absolutely incredible 2025. Where does it go from here?
Well, I feel like it just keeps going up because that's the only way it's gone so far. And for me to say where it goes, it almost feels like I'm creating my own ceiling because so much has happened that I didn't even think possible.
My friends, we've got 2 live shows coming up and tickets are on sale right now. First, we will see you in Los Angeles on June 6th, the day before Money in the Bank. Then start spreading the news. We're going to New York City on August 1st, the day before the first ever 2-day SummerSlam. Tickets for both of those are on sale right now at cvvtix.com. That's cvvtix.com. The VIP packages include a special meet and greet, and it will sell out. So grab them now while you can. We've got more cities that we'll be announcing soon, but for now, we'll see you in LA and we'll see you in New York. Now enjoy this conversation with the first ever women's Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria.
Well, great to see you.
Great to see you. Yeah.
I'm glad we're finally doing this.
Me too.
Yeah, and congrats on everything.
Thank you.
It's been a heck of a 2025 for you so far.
Yeah, it really, really has. It's been crazy, chaotic, meteoric. It's like, I feel like every month or every week now I'm saying like, okay, this one's the most important match of my career. Now this one's the most important match of my career. You know, they just keep coming.
Where did that begin? What was the most important match of your career this year so far? Was it the one where you won that thing on your shoulder?
You could say that. You could say WrestleMania. You could say the one tomorrow, like Backlash. They just keep coming, honestly. Like I've always, something my trainer used to say from the very beginning was the most important match is always the next one. So I always thought that was a really good mentality.
On that same idea, do you believe in the idea that you're only as good as your last match?
Yeah, I love that idea. There's always this advert that was one of the WWE ones that used to play in my head all the time, and it was Kofi Kingston's voice, actually. And I've told him this, the one that says, you're only ever one great match away from being the next big thing. And I love that.
Do you feel like there were times before this amazing year you're having right now where you were like right on the cusp of like, things could have been, I could have taken it to the next level and it just didn't happen?
There's been a lot of points in my career where I've kind of been like, it felt very out of the frying pan and into the fire. And I feel like I've never let myself down on that. But I suppose a point where I was on the cusp of something and then it all fell flat was when I tore my ACL in NXT UK. I was like on the road to coming back to another match with Meiko Satomura, who was the NXT UK Women's Champion at the time. And the whole, like my whole world was who's going to be the one to beat Meiko, you know, the talk of the locker room, the talk of everything, you know, she was the ultimate champion, the ultimate person you wanted to be in the ring with, you know, that was everything, was the NXT UK Women's Championship. So then it's like we were just coming back from COVID and wrestling in front of nobody. And actually, I heard that Bayley tore her ACL, and this was like right as the people were coming back, the crowds were coming back, and I was like, oh, that's awful timing, like how awful. And I did it 1 week later. And there's just been, God, there's so much when I think about it. Like I did it from doing a sunset bomb from the corner. And I was at the show in Dublin where Seth Rollins did the same thing, where he tore his knee.
Wow.
So yeah, I saw his last match as the WWE champion. And then like, if you told me back then that like I was going to do the exact same thing, you know, it's pretty wild. But I feel like I was on the road there to possibly maybe becoming the NXT UK Women's Champion or having that match with Meiko, that rematch that I never got that I really wanted. But that's the one thing in my career where I'm like, I wonder what if. That's kind of it.
Did you know it was torn?
No, I didn't even know what that meant. Like, I'd never had any bad injuries. I'd never like, I know now, like you hear about a torn knee or something, it's like, oh, it's a big,
Yeah, you're out
it's
for
everything.
maybe
I
a
didn't
year.
know that. Yeah, I'll never forget it. I was on my way into town to meet my now fiance. And I remember like after the match, I finished the match and I remember they wanted to put me on crutches going into the airport. And I was like, no, and like, I'm fine. I thought it was one of those things where I'd be fine in 2 weeks. Like, oh, it's just fine. Like it'll be okay in 2 weeks time.
Were you in a lot of
Just gonna
pain?
be sore for a bit. No, like in the moment it was really bad. But then after that, it was just, I really did just think like, oh yeah, this will be fine. The surgery messed me up so much more than the injury. It was the surgery that I was like, that killed me. That set me back. But the actual injury, I was like, do I even need surgery? Like, so they were like, you need a scan. I didn't think I did. So I was like, okay, we'll do this. And I felt so confident that it was going to be fine. The fact that we had to like, the referee did the X and we had to pause the match. I remember actually thinking when we did the scan, I hope there's something there just so I don't look like it was nothing, but I had no idea how bad it was going to be. So I was in town about to meet my fiance and I got a phone call and they tell me that I have a torn ACL and I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like I genuinely, they were like, oh, it's going to be surgery. And surgery, and they were like, yeah, you're going to be out for like 9 months to a year. I couldn't believe it. Like I remember I was standing in a just the shop, the corner shop, and they were just like, I was so shocked. There was like tears rolling down my face and I was like, I can't be out for a year. And then I remember like I was meeting my fiance there and I remember seeing him and like grabbing him by the shoulder as he was walking by and he just sees me on the phone like this, like crying, and he turns around, he doesn't know what's happened. Like, God, it was so rough. But yeah, I'd say that was a big down point. But now you kind of do just look at it and be like, no, it was a great struggle. Like, when you're out, there's nothing more you want than to get back. So it forces you to think about, why you do this, what you want from this. And, when you're forced to be on the sidelines, it makes you appreciate everything so much more. And, it kind of just refreshes your work ethic and your drive.
But it's got to be difficult when you're sitting at home and you're not out there and you're watching it on TV and you're seeing other people in that spot that you would have been in or could have been in. And you're just going, all right, well, if they told me 9 months to go, well, now we've got 8, 7, 6, and you're counting down going, look at all these missed opportunities I've had. Yeah,
a little bit. There was a big part of me that was hoping like, maybe they'll wait for me. Maybe I'll still come back and be the one to beat Mako, Again, now I'm kind of wise enough to know that this
it moves on without you.
Yeah, this does not wait for anyone. But yeah, no, I had a lot of ups and downs in waiting, but I wouldn't change it for anything now. Like I feel like that injury really helped me I don't know, it kind of iron sharpens iron kind of, I don't know, it just made me tougher.
You got a cool scar out of it. Look at that.
Yeah, a little one. Probably the smallest one that I've seen.
It's
a lot
not
of people
bad.
have a bigger one, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, scars tell a story.
Yeah.
There's a story there.
Yeah, my own little battle scar there.
Yeah. What are you drinking here?
This is a black Americano.
Oh, I feel so bad when people bring drinks into an interview because they like very rarely have time to drink them.
Oh yeah,
so make sure to please take some sips in between questions. Otherwise, this thing's going to get cold and it's not going to be any good by the time we're done here.
I should have brought you a drink. What's your coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
Ah,
I have some water here.
You're one of those psychopaths.
I may have a slight addiction to energy drinks.
Okay, there you go. So, there's always something. You have to have
right.
Yeah.
We have something in like to keep you going. Mm-hmm. But I see the Whoop on your wrist there.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was a Whoop person for a long time.
Oh yeah.
How's your rest and recovery today?
Pretty good. Yeah, I think we're in the green.
Okay, good.
So that's good.
Have you had 100% day yet?
No, I'm never. I live in the yellow. I'm never recovered.
How about like after a real long flight, real long day, are you like way down in the reds, like single digits?
Yeah, especially on Tuesdays. Because we're always on like 3 hours sleep on a Tuesday. There's just no hope to get in the green for a Tuesday.
Well, you get the recovery throughout the rest of the week, right?
Yeah, you try and build it back up, but it's always a catch-up game. Never on top.
What's training look like for you in the gym?
So I've discovered CrossFit and I absolutely love it. And now I wouldn't train any other way. It was Ivy Nile that got me into it. Her and her husband, there's a gym that is right beside the performance center and we're always in there every day. I love it so much.
So is it 7 days a week?
No. I feel like I'll try do 3 CrossFit sessions, a hot yoga session, and like my own other like deck of cards, like body weight squats, that kind of thing. One of those a week. That's kind of my like happy place. Oh, and a wrestling session. If I can get like a training session in, I'm still always training.
Are you still doing any sort of martial arts?
Martial arts, apart from like outside of wrestling?
Yeah, like, anything from what you've done previously before wrestling? You do anything like that?
No. Nah.
You're like, I'm focused on wrestling.
Yeah, I wouldn't have the time.
Yeah.
I'd love to get back into dance if I had the chance, but I don't.
Are there similarities between dance and wrestling?
I think so, in that it's how you do something that is, like, it's a form of self-expression, I almost feel like, isn't it? Everyone kind of moves differently, and you can almost tell someone's personality by how they dance and how they move. And I feel like you can do the same thing when you watch someone in the ring.
Yeah, and like your body's what's telling the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think there's a real beauty to that. And the idea that like you're telling a story through what your body's doing, what you're doing with the people around you.
Yeah.
Growing up in Ireland, who's the person that you looked at that was already doing it in WWE that you went, oh, because they're doing it, I can do it now?
Well, that was Becky. She was the first, like, when I saw NXT, the very first thing I saw of NXT was her Irish dancing debut. That was it. And, I was already a fan, but like, that was what set the ball rolling of like, she must have started somewhere. Like, she didn't just spawn over there. If she's from Ireland, like, is there somewhere to do this here? And that was what made me, go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole of where is there to train in Ireland.
So you were already watching wrestling at this point?
Yeah.
You were just a fan of it?
I was just a fan. I got into it with my brother. My brother was a fan. And I used to like slag him off, be like, oh, what are you watching that for? But it would always be on after school. And then as he kind of grew out of it actually. But I got more and more invested. And I always say the thing that like hooked me forever was like Randy Orton and Christian's feud in like 2011, and like Cena, CM Punk, Money in the Bank, like all that kind of thing. That was what really, really got me. And that was when I started paying for the pay-per-views. I started like, it was unmissable to me from then on.
When you think about it, there's less than 10 people from Ireland that have ever made it in WWE. And you're one of them.
Yeah, it's crazy. But also you look at how small Ireland is and like how many of us are on Raw right now and doing so well. Like it's crazy. I feel like we're really good at like producing the best.
Yeah. What is it? What do you guys have in the water over there?
I don't know what it is. I feel like it's just our approach to this and how we see what happens between the ropes, and that we have this like certain grit about us. Like we train on the mats. Like when I started, we didn't have a ring. We were learning to bump on mats, that kind of thing. And I don't know, there's just a very kind of how bad do you want it? Like, don't let anyone beside you do more push-ups than you. Like, if you are going to get on the show, you have to earn your spot. You have to bring something to the table that no one else is. You have to be the best. Like, we were very competitive, but also supportive. Like, it's not I feel like there's 2 types of competitor. You can be like nasty with your competition, or you can like, I want you to do great so I can do better. When it's supportive, you want to help each other. And it's like, we all get better together by pushing each other and by trying to outdo each other, but it's in a nice way.
Yeah.
And I love that about wrestling.
I love this phrase, clapping for others doesn't take away from your own success.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's the idea what you're talking about here. Of like, if you're getting better, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. It's one thing to watch someone like Becky Lynch on TV and go, she's doing the thing and she's from my country, but it's a totally different thing to go, I can do that now. So what gave you that belief?
Honestly, I don't think I went, I can go do that. I think I am like, it was one of those things where I was watching Raw super late because it starts at like 1 a.m. And I was again down the rabbit hole. Where can I go to do this? I was even like, I was looking at who's in the club, who's there. And I was not I was not very outgoing. I was very, very shy. So if I started something, I needed a friend to go with me and that kind of thing. Like I was never the one, I was the quiet friend, I think. I was always a bit awkward. But this was the one thing that I was like, if I go, like, I'll just do it. I even considered like giving a fake name so that if it goes really badly, no one has to like know about it, and my friends will never find out, anything like that. And it was like, I must have been like 3 a.m. and I was on my phone looking it up, and I kind of just went, I'm just going to do this. It was actually a Saturday night, and I was up watching wrestling, and I went, I'm just going to go tomorrow, because if I put down my phone right now and go to sleep and I say, maybe I'll do this next week, I won't. It was just one of those freak things that I was like, just get up and go. And it turned my whole life around. Like that one little decision to just try something really did change my life, because I knew from, it sounds like it's just something to say, but it really did. I decided that day that good or bad, like that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, that one decision to try something changed everything.
Do you remember that first day?
Yeah. No, I don't remember the session very well. I remember the pain the next day. And I remember running around in a circle with the few guys that were outside. I met my fiance that very first day as well. Like, he was the first person I ever met, shook my hand outside the gym.
And look at you guys now.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I'm amazed by the idea that if you don't do this thing, then this thing can't happen. And then if that thing doesn't happen, you don't meet this person or whatever it happens to be.
There's so many crazy things like that in my career that have worked out just ridiculously to make me think like the universe is on my side.
Sure, yeah. It's become full circle now with Becky Lynch. So like, this is the person that got you into wrestling. She's the person that you beat for the NXT Championship. There's so much history there. What does it mean to you to be able to work with Becky now?
It's just crazy. Like, she's the one that broke all the glass ceilings, the one that did it all, but she didn't just like do it and succeed. Like she did things that no one ever thought possible. So that's just, I have like a crazy level of respect for that, because, you know, once someone does something, there's all these studies about like how far the 100-meter run, the maximum was like the human capability, how much they can go, right? But then once one person broke that,
this is the 4-minute mile.
That's it.
Roger Bannister in the 4-minute mile. They thought it was literally impossible
to do it any faster than the current record.
Yeah.
And then one person broke it. And then when that one person broke it, it was broken by the next person and the next person and the next person.
Yeah.
It's almost like you just need that one person to show you that it's possible. And then suddenly like it just opens up the floodgates and suddenly there's no limit, you know? So like to have a woman from my tiny country of Ireland to have gone that far, I really feel like if her, then why not me, you know?
When was the first time you met her?
It was actually in my training gym when she came home to film her 24 doc for WWE. That was the one time I met her. And I went to a pool of tears, which I'm embarrassed to say now, but it's nice when you look back. I only met her that one day, and then I didn't meet her again until NXT. Did
you have anything like prepared? Like, you know, you're going to meet her, and are you like, I'm going to tell her this, or I'm going to share?
No. I remember it was like a group thing, and she was talking to everyone, and she showed us some stuff in the ring, and they had the cameras there. And I was the champion of my promotion at the time. And they, I remember my head trainer going like, oh, this is actually our first women's champion. I was the first woman to hold that title, the Irish Junior Heavyweight Championship, at a Home and Fight Factory. And she was like, oh, and then suddenly like all the attention, like everyone kind of looked at me and she looked at me. And I remember being like, crap, you know, but yeah, it's a good memory.
It's funny for someone who says, you say you're shy, say you don't want attention, you may have picked the wrong business to be in then.
I know, right? Like that's a scary thing when you think about this, because it's such a, you know, my parents will say that to me all the time. My dad was like to me, I can't believe you ended up in entertainment because I was just the last person that you would think would be able to do that stuff.
Do you think that's like a different version of you? Like, are you a certain person before you go through the curtain? And then when you go out through the curtain after your music hits, that's a different version of you?
I think for a while I was trying to be, and now I think I'm realizing that it's actually, you need to be yourself when you go through the curtain. And they're the best people. Like I look at the best, and sometimes I worry because the top stars that go out there, they are just turned up versions of themselves, and they're big personalities, and they are the same person in the locker room as they are when they go through the curtain. And I'm a bit more like reserved and quiet. I wouldn't say I'm a massive personality. So I would sometimes wonder like, oh, do you have to be this type of person to make it here? But then I don't think you do anymore. Like, I think I look at like Chad Gable, and he's quite reserved and everything, but he's out there, you know, being a superstar. It's learnable. And that was a question I actually asked John Cena. I said, do you think you have to naturally have this kind of big persona? Or do you think it is learnable? And he said it was learnable.
So like charisma can be a learned quality?
I think so. I think so. And he thinks so. But yeah, I think about that stuff a lot. But I actually think it's more important to just be you. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do now.
We're now in the heart of the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs, although I'm a little bummed because my Maple Leafs have been eliminated, but we don't need to talk about that. Get in on all the action at MyBookie, and it's not just basketball or hockey, it's also baseball, boxing, UFC 317 right around the corner is going to be huge. They'll also have lines for Money in the Bank, which is June 7th in Los Angeles. And when you sign up at MyBookie and you use my code, which is CVV, they're going to give you a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So for example, if you put in $100, boom, now you've got $150 there. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere, only at MyBookie.
Michael Cole recently said on Raw that you have come out of your shell. Do you feel like you've come out of your shell?
I think so. I think I'm more comfortable being who I am than I have ever been. But I think I've always had that side of me there. It just hasn't been showcased just yet.
So what brought it out of you?
Well, this whole storyline, this is, I kind of just haven't had the chance to get out there and get on the mic yet. And I want this, and I know I've always had it in me. So now it's just showing it.
How much confidence does that championship on your shoulder bring to you?
A lot of confidence, and it's a big responsibility, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with it. But I think I'm kind of in control once I get in the ring. Like that's where I'm like, no matter what outside noise there is, I'm completely like in control of what I do here. So that's kind of where my power is. No one can take that away.
Because like when you win the championship, when you win the Women's Intercontinental Championship, they're saying you, like we choose you. And also we choose you to be the first. So you're going to make history. Like people will never forget the first. That's got to give you a ton of confidence to know like I'm doing something right now and I got to keep rolling with this.
Oh yeah, I do. Like that's massive. No matter what, my name's in the history books as the first Intercontinental Women's Champion. Like that is huge. So I feel like I am doing some great things and everything right.
When did those conversations begin? When they were talking about bringing out this championship, and then you started to become part of the conversation of like, it could be you.
I never was a part of that conversation. I find out what I'm, I find out on Mondays what I'm doing. I found out the day of. I was never a part of the decision or the conversation. I just showed up to work.
How did it feel when you were told that?
Oh, like amazing. Like I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. But things don't hit me when I think they're going to. I always say that, like, and it never hits me in the moment. Like it hit me when I was driving home and taking my bags out of the car on the Tuesday, and like the title is just sitting in my bag, and the zip open, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the Intercontinental Championship. I won that. I brought that home. That's when it hits me. It's never like when it should.
How about the first time you take it through TSA and they go, what is this thing?
Yeah, that happens a lot. That's starting to get old.
It is?
No, it's just like I always have to allow that. I'll never check it, obviously. So I have to allow that little bit of extra time.
You can't check it. You could
it's
lose it.
Pulled.
Yeah. So maybe you take it out, you put it in its own separate bin. Okay. Right. And then it goes through. Maybe people will be looking at it, but it won't get pulled out of your bag. You won't have the secondary search.
Yeah. Maybe I should just whip it out.
What are the questions?
Maybe I should just go to the airport with it on my shoulder.
Maybe. Just walk around. You're the champion of all of the continents,
I am.
interconnected together. What are the questions you get when they take that out of security?
I'll always know if they understand WWE. If not, they'll be like, "Ooh, what's that? Like, what weight class are you in?" And then I know, like, okay, they don't know anything. They don't know what we do. But like, sometimes they get like super excited and ask for pictures and stuff, and that's always nice.
And like they know that they've met the champion then.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing.
Very cool. Very cool. I love, I got to bring home the NXT Women's Championship like to my home gym and, my family at home. And I got to bring this one home as well. So that's like really cool.
What a cool moment you had at WrestleMania where for about 24 hours, you had 2 championships.
I did. I was tag team champions with Becky. And I know it's funny when you look at JD McDonagh, he always says his dream was to be tag champions with Balor. And, they did that. And however short-lived it was, I was a double champion. So
right.
Yeah.
What an entrance at WrestleMania. So walk me through just the vision for what that entrance was going to be.
Well, so I had those wings, the white and gold, set aside for a while. I was like, that's big show gear. But the mistake I made was so once doors opened, I realized I never got up on that stage. I never checked. I never walked out. I never, I've got the wings. I didn't test how it feels to walk out or get in the ring with them or anything. And I was like, I should have gotten on stage. I have no idea if there's bumps, if there's dips, if there's anything. I was like, oh, why didn't I do that? I was just, it just slipped my mind that that's something I should definitely do. So then when I was on the stage for the first time, it was to make my entrance. So because I was so unfamiliar with the venue and everything, I was like, oh my God, I cannot trip. So, and it's always very cool, because I make my entrance with my back to the crowd, when I come up, there's when I turn around and I see everyone, it's always cool. But this time, as I was coming up, I turned around and there was so much smoke at Mania that I couldn't see anything. So I start to walk and I look down at the ground and I'm like, don't fall, don't fall. And the second I look up, the smoke had completely cleared and I saw, the entire arena. And I feel like you can see that on camera. I'm making my entrance as normal. Oh, wow.
And that's the biggest crowd by far you've ever been in front of.
Yeah, I think so.
Or maybe Rumble.
The Rumble. I think the Rumble might have had more.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. To be walking down, knowing my family is out there, my fiance is out there. Yeah, it was a dream come true. What
is the story behind your entrance in general?
So on the Independence, I wrestled as Valkyrie, and that's not Marvel character based, not bird based. It's actually from my favorite book, which is written by an Irish author. It's about I discovered it was when I was 12 years old. The main character was 12, living in Dublin, and starts this whole new secret life, and she has to take on a name to start this new life, and she calls herself Valkyrie. So I started that, and until I went to WWE, I never used the kind of imagery that's associated with the Valkyrie at all. So then I was like, okay, well, I should probably use that. So I got the kind of Valkyrie-looking gear for NXT UK. And then when I was moving across, I had to change my name. And I actually contacted the author of that book. So his name's Derek Landy, and he's Irish. And he suggested this character called the Morrigan. And I was actually a little bit familiar with it. It's like the Irish Valkyrie from Irish mythology. And Finn Balor and his demon character also drew from Irish mythology and stuff. And the Morrigan is basically transforms into a raven or crow and hovers over the battlefield and decides who's going to win a battle. So I was like, that's really cool. And I went down that rabbit hole and just it's just a very cool female warrior character who transforms into a raven. And I just thought that was very cool. It was related to the Valkyrie. So it's still tied to like my book and my favorite stuff. And I love mythology. So yeah, that's where it all comes from.
And in your Instagram bio, you've got Bird Lady.
Yeah, well, that's just what all this deep meaning behind it. And everyone's just like, bird.
There's more to the story, people.
Yeah, well, whatever. If people like it, they can call me Bird Lady, I think. And it's fine.
I think it's
cool,
I think it's the idea. If they remember you, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Bird Ladies are cool, right?
I think when you say Bird Lady, I just think of Home Alone 2. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
a pigeon lady in the park?
Yeah. Yeah, there's
That's definitely not what you are.
I see on Twitter, people, there's like a GIF of this pigeon that like flies straight at the camera. And I get that a lot. But now that I'm the champion, people have put a little title on the pigeon.
Ooh.
And the pigeon looks great. It just changes the whole GIF. Like the pigeon looks so excited with the title. And I'm like, it's just meant to be.
Becky hasn't been too nice to you lately.
No.
It's funny. She comes back. Huge reaction, right? Like you're standing in the ring. What was that just wave of energy when her music hit?
That was very cool. Like knowing that was about to happen, and I just got to be standing at the ramp for it. Yeah, that was really, really cool.
And then the next day, she turns on you.
I know.
And it has turned into this whole other thing. Now you get a cool feud with Becky Lynch out of this, which is awesome. But to go from like the highest of highs, and you guys are together, and things are great at WrestleMania, to the Raw after WrestleMania. We don't like Becky anymore. No,
we don't. And it's funny because it came at the expense of Bayley, which is a bit sad because we clicked so well as a tag team. So it was genuinely hard to have my Mania moment come at an expense to, like, Becky was everything that she is a big part of the reason I started wrestling, but it was the era of the 4 horsewomen in NXT. It wasn't just Becky, Bayley was a massive influence as well. So it did kind of taint how great it was, knowing it was coming at her expense.
Yeah, it's almost like there's an asterisk on that moment, right? Because the buildup was going to be you and Bayley in this tag team match.
Yeah.
Bayley's taken out, and then you now have a mystery partner. But it's like, well, where do things go now with Bayley? And I agree with you that it's like it's a bittersweet moment then.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to talk about, or to because there's so much good, but there's so much I don't know. There's like it's just tough. I can't. Yeah.
There's a lot of history with Bayley.
There is. Well, quick history. We only tagged for a couple of weeks, but we hit it off so well outside of the ring. She's just she's very easy to chat to and get along with. And she's just so personable. Like, you meet Bayley and you feel like you've known her your whole life. Like, I introduced her to my fiance, and he was like, I haven't met her before, have I? And I was like, no. And he was like, I feel like I have, just from talking to her there. It's like you just know her,
Yeah. I love this tweet you put out 8 years ago, 2017.
There's so much stuff like that.
And you said, imagine one day being able to make someone feel how I felt meeting Bayley. Now that would be amazing. Yeah.
Even the way I worded that, like, how did me on Twitter when I was younger, my God, I had no idea how much I was setting myself up for in the future.
Right, because there's two components of that, right? There's one of like, how cool is meeting Bayley? This is amazing. The second part is like, imagine one day I could make someone feel that way. And that's what you do now.
I mean, I hope so. We'll never know. Like, Bayley and Becky and everyone, they're all at this point where you got like me, Roxanne, and, people coming in to WWE now and being like, I'm here because of you. And I suppose I won't really know. Like, I'd love to think that someone is watching me and going to say the same thing to me one day.
But it's even just the idea that you're meeting a fan now. And even if they never become a wrestler, you made them feel great on that day. And that's a moment they'll never forget.
Yeah, I love that. I always think that anyone who doesn't understand what we do, if you come to a live show, like my favorite thing ever is when, if we're all watching the same match, I love that everyone in that room is on the same emotional journey of that match. And we all just go through it together, and there's like an electricity in the room. And like, there's nothing more magical than everyone being sucked into a match live in person. Like, honestly, it's so addictive. It's like, you can't describe the magic of it until you bring someone or you do it yourself.
So if you said there's other moments like that tweet, what are the other ones that maybe people haven't seen?
Well, there's just a lot of things like that where I feel like everything has come full circle, like with the tweets and like stuff like being at the Dublin show where Seth Rollins tore his knee and I did the exact same thing. And then you've got like just for example, when I was training and traveling, stuff didn't make sense a lot of the time, right? Because I was being educated. I was in college, and I was like pulling out of exams and missing a lot of college to travel and train. And you know, you're spending way more money than you're making when you're just doing it. You know, for a long time you pay to wrestle before you ever get paid to wrestle. And I remember I was just doing what the top guy in my school was doing, and all he was doing was traveling and getting to as many different schools as possible. And he was going to British wrestler, like World of Sport wrestler Marty Jones and Johnny Moss, his school. So he would do trips and go to both. And I was like, well, he's the best, so I have to do what he's doing. So I tagged along with him and I started training with Marty Jones and Johnny Moss. And when I went there, little did I know that Johnny Moss would become a producer and trainer for WWE. But even like, I remember when I was over and we would like stay in this B&B, train with Mossy, and we ended up going for like a pint afterwards. And I remember Mossy telling us like, oh, they're building a performance center. There's going to be a UK show and a UK PC. And he was like, keep it super hush hush, you know, it's not out. And I was like, no way. But like, I was there. I will never forget like sitting there with a drink in front of me being told that this PC was going to be built. Little did I know I'd be a part of the women's tryout. I would be there and have this whole journey in NXT UK before it was even a thing. And then it closed. And then, you know, my life for ages was the NXT UK Women's Championship. And then little did I know that, like, you know, all the talk about who was going to beat Mako. And it would be like Mandy, Mako wouldn't be pinned. And now the UK Championship just doesn't exist. There's just so much craziness. But anyway, just bringing it back to Mossy, there was no reason. You know, I wasn't like, I'm going to go travel there because this is going to happen. How was I to know that he would end up as my trainer in WWE? You know, it's just stuff like that, little decisions I made purely to get better and do what I should do to become the best, just have like come out. Even, God, there's my best friend and trainer. We had a match. Her name's Katie Harvey. And we had a show where a dive went wrong and she broke both of her arms. But in the match, then like I was supposed to continue the match with her and she didn't get back up. So then one day I'm on years later on TV, NXT, the exact same thing happened with Shotzi in the exact same way. We were outside the ring and she just didn't get back up. And that was such a weird, like, oh my God, I've been here before. And I don't know, it was just like I was a little bit better prepared, I suppose, because I'll never forget watching Katie being carried to the back and then to have the same thing happen with Shotzi. It was just, but like this has happened before. So it's just so weird how things come back to you, you know?
Yeah.
Quick time out from this episode. You know, being an adult has its high points. Like, you can eat ice cream for any meal that you want. You get to pick your own bedtime, but it's not all fun. Sometimes there's like some real adult stuff, like doing your taxes or making doctor's appointments. At least for that one though, we've got ZocDoc, the healthcare app that makes adulting that much easier. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click instantly to book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skincare, and so much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. Some can even happen the same day. This is something that I use, and I know that you'll love it as well. I just booked a dermatologist appointment using ZocDoc and got in on the same day. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/insight to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/insight.
What was the driving force for you early on? Was it just, I want to get signed by WWE? Or was it just like, I want to make enough money to keep this thing going?
No, it was never, ever about money. I just wanted to do this. And I feel like my motivation changed completely because like watching Becky, and I remember watching Paige win the Divas Championship when she debuted and stuff like that. That was my reason to start. But when I started, honestly, when I was first watching wrestling, I was the type that I would fast forward the matches sometimes because I wanted to know who won. And then I wanted to see like the interactions after the match. Like I'd fast forward the wrestling part.
Yeah.
To get to the promos and the drama. And when I went to my first training session, I had no idea. I didn't know what indie wrestling was. I didn't know anything. All I knew was WWE. And I didn't know if I would be handed a script and told to like walk out a ramp. Like I didn't know what training was. I had no idea what wrestlers do. And very, very quickly, I feel like I fell in love with the wrestling side of it. And I went completely the other way to now like everything is about like between the ropes for me. And it's just so funny because I used to fast forward the matches to get to the other stuff. And now it's like, it did almost the complete reverse. I feel like I flipped it completely upside down and just fell in love with the art of pro wrestling. But no, like, I feel like a lot of people make that mistake of when they're trying to become a wrestler, they're like, okay, who do I get in front of to get me where I want to be? I was never that type. I was like, how do I just become better? You know, I fell in love with the process of it. I love my life. I love the struggle. I love the training. I kind of love like, you know, the amount of times you'd be on like zero sleep or whatever, like on a train, in a terrible B&B because that's all you can afford or whatever, like, you know, traveling to the next show and then like, you know, all the stuff you do. I kind of love when stuff goes wrong or whatever and you just end up in bizarre situations and then you're kind of just like, I love the idea that like, oh, you'd have to be crazy to do this. Like you'd have to be mental. No sane person would do this.
You do have to be a little bit crazy.
You have to be a little bit crazy. And I kind of love that like no one in their right mind would do this right now or would keep going. And I kind of like, oh, that's what we do. No one gets it. We get it.
And then on top of that, you look at the odds, right? Like how many people who are training end up getting signed by WWE and it's a tiny fraction of a percentage.
I know. I remember training in Germany. I did a bit with WXW and I remember in their school who was taking the training, it was me and a bunch of guys. And I remember the trainer saying that like, odds are no one in this room will make it. And I remember being like, I'm going to make it, you know? But yeah, I think that's the difference is like, I'm a wrestler and it's not WWE that have made me a wrestler. I'm a wrestler because that's what I do and that's what I've decided I'm doing with my life. So like if it all went away, if WWE went away, I'd still be a wrestler, you know? Whereas a lot of people are just very, who do I get in front of to get me into WWE? You know, like you just have to put the work in and almost fall in love with the journey. Because if you don't love the stuff you're doing when you're trying to get to where you want to go, you're not going to love it when you get there either.
Yeah.
You're just going to pick, because it's how it is as well. There's always the next thing, like win the title, what's next? Do WrestleMania, what's next? You just have to love it enough to still to always enjoy it, you know?
You can tell how much passion you have bell to bell. Like when you're actually in there in a match, you're such a technician. Where did that come from?
I think it's just the style that we're trained in my gym and in Fight Factory. Like we're very technical. And I just kind of developed a very big appreciation for that side of it, for technical wrestling. I love it. I love the art of trying to outdo the person you're wrestling. And, you know, when there's no plan and you just get in and wrestle someone, that's what it becomes. It's like it's give and take, but it's also like you're trying to outdo the person you're with. And that can be very real when you're just wrestling around, and it's fun. I love that.
We see lots of face-to-face interactions in the ring. And you had this one recently with Becky, but I didn't see that kick coming. Like that came out of nowhere. Like either slap, maybe a punch, a tackle, but a kick. What's the idea behind that?
The idea behind kicking her?
I mean, like it could have been anything. You decided to go with a kick.
Hey, I told her when I was walking down the ramp, I wanted to put my foot through her skull, and I did. I was just delivering on my words.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool. Just
thank you.
Kicked her head off.
I did.
Talk to me about the end of your match at Queen of the Ring. How would you describe what happened with Nia Jax?
She exploded my ribs.
Did you break your ribs?
No, I was fine. I was okay.
It looked bad.
Yeah, it was bad. It was tough. The Samoan drops were tougher. Yeah, honestly.
But like
it's a rough match.
I feel like
she's a beast.
She is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get winded? Like if it looked brutal.
Definitely, but it was the end of the match, so luckily it was okay.
Yeah, it just like I'm shocked when you say that she exploded your ribs. I'm shocked that you didn't break several of them.
Me too. But look, everyone asks me about that. I feel like that was a moment that I carved out for myself, and like a month into Raw, so it was worth it.
Why were the Samoan drops worse?
Oh, I was winded on those.
And then how do you keep pushing forward?
Oh, you just got to do it. You know, I mean, JD McDonagh wrestled a whole match with a punctured lung. So
isn't that insane?
No, that was crazy. I remember watching that live, and he did the same thing on an indie, not like a few years before, where he went out through the bottom and cracked his head off a railing. And I remember watching it live and just going, oh, not again, Jordan. But I didn't know how bad it was. When I heard punctured lung, I was like, oh my God, that's a career-threatening, life-threatening. I thought it was really bad. But look, I don't know how he's got an insane work ethic, insane Iron Man mentality.
The iron lung.
Yeah. It's he's a great person to have to like look up to for that kind of stuff as well.
You could hear the concern in Michael Cole's voice. Like, guys, somebody needs to come out here and check on JD McDonagh. Like the sound of his head hitting the announce table is terrifying.
Oh, horrible. I'm really glad I didn't know how bad it was on the night. I had no idea, but I did see it happen and just go, oh, no.
What did Sheamus mean to you growing up in Ireland?
Oh, he's just a legend, isn't he? He's always been there. He's so long. So it was really cool to get to do Celtic Warrior workouts with him. He's a bit of an alien.
In what way?
I just can't figure him out. But he's cool.
But what an honor to get asked. Like not everybody gets to do the Celtic Warrior workout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he says it to everyone, but he says that like I killed him and mine was the hardest. So yeah, I'm ready for round 2 and he is.
Yeah, when you get asked to do that, are you like, okay, well now I got to think of like the toughest workout I could possibly do?
I didn't really think of the toughest. You know, we kept the weight super light, but it was definitely enough.
Well, the thing I appreciate about Sheamus in those workouts is like he's willing to try anything.
Oh yeah.
So whatever you come in with, wasn't he doing Pilates with Maxine Dupree?
So funny. Yeah. So funny. I think that morning as well, he had just been we were on the West Coast and he'd been on like a really, really long flight. So it was like super early. I think he'd been like stuck with the middle seat, that kind of thing. And, you know, but I was like, oh, I hope you're ready to work.
So where do you go from here? It's been an absolutely incredible 2025. Mm-hmm. Where does it go from here?
Well, I feel like it just keeps going up because that's the only way it's gone so far. And I feel like for me to say where it goes next and what my next possibility is, it almost feels like I'm creating my own ceiling because so much has happened that I didn't even think possible. So I'm just going to keep rolling with the punches and seeing what happens because this didn't exist a year ago.
Yeah.
When Becky came down to NXT, I didn't think that was ever possible. Like, no, she's on Raw. I didn't think, there was a time when it was unusual for people on Raw or SmackDown to come down to NXT, or it didn't happen. So I just didn't think that was a possibility. I never in my life thought that I would, beat Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship. It just didn't even cross my mind as a possibility.
Does that reality set in after the 1, 2, 3? And you're like, that's Becky Lynch. And I just won.
Yeah. It doesn't hit you when it should. It's like random points. Like in the morning I did the Rumble. I was fine the whole day, fine the Rumble. But it was when the morning of, when I went down to get my coffee, I think I had morning media. So I was going down at like 7 a.m. to get into makeup. I was picking up my coffee and just at Starbucks, just like tears just started rolling down my face. It just hit me like, I'm doing the Royal Rumble today. I'm walking into the Rumble as Intercontinental Women's Champion. I'm going to run that ramp with the title around my waist, So it hit me that morning, randomly getting coffee.
Are those tears of gratitude and appreciation, or are they tears of like, it's pretty nerve-wracking?
No, it's all gratitude and appreciation. I feel like I'm very good at living in the moment, but also like being grateful and accepting, like, for how much I've done. It's never lost on me how cool my life is and what I'm doing. Like, I love my life.
Do you see a world championship in your future at some point?
I hope so. I definitely love the opportunity. When you watch that, like, I was absolutely blown away by the women's triple threat at WrestleMania. And it lights such a fire in you when you see a match like that. Like, yeah, okay, like I got to step up. I got to do that. So yeah, I definitely do. I don't know, like, if you're not in it to go all the way, like main event WrestleMania, then I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I feel like you've stepped up your promos a lot.
Thank you.
Where did that come from? Where are you? It's like a whole new side of you.
I feel like that's the point I was trying to make when I was talking about being you going through the curtain.
Yeah.
I think I've decided to not act and just be me. And I think that if I know who I am, then I go through the curtain and I just stay that person, we'll see what happens.
You hit Becky with some pretty good ones, some pretty good lines.
It's more where that came from.
Oh, you cooked her, as the kids say.
Yeah.
So there's more where that came from?
Hell yeah. Got plenty left to give.
I like it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable year that you're having right now. Like you said, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, you just keep building on that and keep building on that and keep building on that. I'm so pumped to see what the rest of this year has in store for you.
Thank you. Me too. It's been a fun first year on Raw.
Yeah. How do you top this?
I don't know, but I'm sure I'll find a way.
That's what you'll do. Thank you for this great conversation. Congratulations on this amazing year. And I will ask you the question that I ask everybody at the end of every
Please
conversation.
Please don't be the Mount Rushmore.
It will not be a Mount Rushmore. It'll be much easier.
Okay.
Gratitude's such a huge part of my life. We already spoke about it a little bit. Before I go to sleep every night, I say out loud 3 things I'm grateful for. When I wake up in the morning, I do it again. What are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for right now?
I'm really grateful for my fiance. He keeps me grounded, and he's just the best person I ever met in my life. I'm so glad that we've had each other for so long. We've been through everything together. We've seen each other since the start of both our careers. So I don't know how I'd do this without him. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've gotten so far in my career. Like, I've been really, really lucky and healthy for majority of it, and you can't control when stuff happens, but I feel like I've been really, really lucky with opportunities and health. And I'm grateful for all the friends I've made just throughout this, like all the people that have been on my journey with me. Like, the people I wrestled in my very first match I'm very close to. I love my friends in Orlando. Like, I really do just love my life. So I'm grateful for all of it.
Do you find like you have to not smile as much when you're wrestling so people will take you seriously?
I get told the opposite. Sometimes I worry I have like a resting bitch face.
I feel like you smile nonstop.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's changed then because...
Maybe you just brought it for this interview.
Maybe, yeah. I'm really not a smiley person. I'm the one that people are like, would you ever just smile?
All right, so stop smiling for a second.
I can't. I can't right now.
No.
Maybe I'm just really happy today. I don't know.
Amazing. I mean, how could you not be happy?
Yeah.
Life's good.
Life is really good.
You said your interview before this was, how old was he?
An interviewer who was 11 years old this morning. He was turning 12 day of Backlash, and he's going to be there.
What a birthday present to interview the
cool.
inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, it was his first interview.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again for this.
No, thank you. This is really fun.
No, super fun. And I appreciate you making the time. Also, look at these. How much taller did these make you?
Don't know. I do love
3,
a chunky
4
boot.
inches? They're chunky.
A chunky boot and a skirt. I love.
That's kind of become your trademark.
I'd like that. Yeah. I like it.
Like you wore something very similar to this on Raw.
Yeah, these are the boots I kicked Becky in the head with.
That would hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.